Well, I think that big tech interfered. You and I have talked about this like a year ago.
What the fuck does that matter?
I want to say
who got the. Of course, big tech interfered. They interfered for Trump. What was all about? Fox News being.
It's the largest illegal campaign contribution in human history.
Okay, but who actually got more votes?
I want to come back.
Wait, just answer this. No,
yeah.
You can't come back. You can't play politician.
Well, I want to come back to it after we're done with this.
Did Biden win the amount of electoral votes that they said he won, and therefore is the legitimate president?
I think the reason he's legitimate.
Not the right answer.
No, the reason the election was rigged was big tech. That's really the answer, Bill. And I'm data driven.
It doesn't matter. Big tech is always it does matter.
Here's what matters.
But we can't. At the moment, it's happened.
I accept Biden's the duly elected president of the United States.
All right, folks. Well, yesterday I was watching the Bill Maher, Vivek Ramaswamy interview, and I have to say that I am genuinely disappointed by it. Not because Vivek particularly did a bad job. I thought he did pretty decently in this interview, but because I think Bill Maher passed on the opportunity to have a genuinely insightful and meaningful conversation about the issues that matter, about the ideas that matter, because he just could not put aside his Trump derangement syndrome, which I suppose shouldn't be surprising. Many people will say it's Bill Maher, but what I will point out is that they actually started this interview having decent conversations about things that matter, right? About ideas and all of that. And if you watch here, I'll play the beginning. They actually start off having that. He starts off with Vivek having a decent conversation. And then at about the 15 to 20 minute mark, he just cannot let go of Trump. He just starts screaming. He's totally unhinged. You know, although he sometimes, you can tell, has his own ideas and is sensible on some things. At the end of the day, right, still generic Hollywood liberal, cannot get rid of his hatred of Trump. And it really shows. And it's kind of a shame to watch because I think it gypped us of having a genuinely good podcast because Bill Maher would not shut up about, you like Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump. But anyways, here's the beginning of the podcast where they're actually having what I thought was a decent conversation, and then it just derails. But here's the beginning.
Well, I will say this, where I think we're fairly in agreement on. I keep saying my mantra is, let's live in the year we're living in.
Yeah.
Because so many people seem to, on the left, this is a left thing, they seem to want to insist on having our deplorable past permanently stand in for our much improved present, which doesn't mean there isn't work to be done. There certainly are still racists in America and racism, but I feel like we are very often not treating it like, oh, this is 2023 now, and this is where we are. This is the work that has to be done, but let's not be chasing these phantoms of racism that aren't the parts that exist anymore.
Yeah, and I think that we can celebrate that.
Yeah, we should.
I think that we should celebrate that,
should.
Right? I think that we all should. We are all, I mean, in some ways, I am pro-progress, right? Does that make me a progressive, a conservative? I don't know what those labels are, but I'm pro-progress. And so, you know, I think that
so as you can see, anyways, point being, just to give you an idea, at the beginning, they're kind of having a legitimate conversation. Now, I don't necessarily agree with all of what Bill Maher says, even in the beginning. In fact, I disagree with a great deal of it, but still, I can respect the dialogue. Okay, it's interesting. It's cordial. It's okay to listen to. And then we get to this point where, and by the way, the issue is totally unrelated, okay? They're talking about the issue of age in politics. Vivek says, I want younger people in politics. Bill Maher actually drops a take that I think is interesting, which is saying, well, you need the wisdom of elders in politics as well. And they're having this conversation. Check this out. And Bill Maher just decides to make it about Trump. Why? I don't know. Trump is totally unrelated to the conversation, but let me just to show you, here's what happens.
Talk about the way I've built my companies. So for the federal government, when I think about my cabinet,
have some older people.
A few, of course.
You know, every society.
But it will lean young. It will skew young.
You're from an ancient culture that seemed to understand, like most cultures in the world, the village elders.
Yes.
You know, Confucianism in China. Like most countries revere the elders for their wisdom. It's true. You have a great amount of energy at 38. You're super smart. But I do see something that alarms me, truly.
Fair enough.
Because you don't have the wisdom about certain issues. I don't think you think Trump lost the election.
Well,
So see where he takes it, right? Because Bill Maher was actually making what I think is a legitimate point, which is, although we talk so much about age in politics and how we need younger people, there is something traditional and I'd argue conservative about respecting the wisdom of elders. And, that's why I'm sort of nuanced on the take of should our politicians be old or young? I think it depends. But he takes that and then makes it about Trump and things. Well, see, you don't think Trump lost the election. What does that have to do with the issue of age in politics, right? Old people believe that Trump had the election stolen. So do young people. It has nothing to do with age, but he just totally takes the conversation totally unrelated. And like I said, is about to get here in a screaming match about Donald Trump. Why? Because it's Bill Maher. I don't know. What can you say?
Big tech interfered. You and I have talked about this like a year ago.
What the fuck does that matter?
I want to say
who got the. Of course, big tech interfered. They interfered for Trump. What was
losing his mind.
Fox News being?
It's the largest illegal campaign contribution in human history.
Okay, but who actually got more votes?
Biden got, literally in terms of the number of votes that were counted.
And Biden won the states. That
I have seen no evidence to suggest
there is
that there
none.
was.
That's why you haven't seen it. And so Biden won the Electoral College.
I want to come back.
Wait, just answer this.
Topic.
No, you can't come back. You can't play politician.
Well, I want to come back to it after we're done with this.
Did Biden win the amount of electoral votes that they said he won, and therefore is the legitimate president?
I think the reason he's legitimate,
not
there's
the
two
right
reasons.
answer.
No, the reason the election was rigged
Now
was big tech.
See, and notice Vivek's take on the 2020 election isn't even really the Trump take, right? Many would call it a fence-sitting take, where he says, yeah, I think the election was stolen, ... by big tech. Right? You could say it's something of like a moderate, quote unquote, position on the election, but it's not enough for Bill Maher. And by the way, notice 1 minute in, a minute ago, they were talking about age in politics, and now it's Donald Trump. You don't think the election?
That's
Bill
really
Maher.
the answer. Bill, I'm
It doesn't matter.
It
Big
does
tech
matter,
is
though.
always it does matter.
Here's what matters.
But also, we can't at the moment. It's happened.
I accept Biden's the duly elected president of the United States. I said it at the time, and I said it now.
Everybody does bad things during campaigns, including using big tech. What matters is then who got the most votes. We have to start with somewhere that's real. That's what's real. Who won those states that puts him in the White House? And you cannot just say to me, yes, Biden won the election.
Mad?
Because
well, I said that at the time. I said it at the time, and I said
won
it
the
ever
election.
since. Biden had the most votes in the election. Biden had the most votes.
Can't say those words. It's like you're a husband who can't say.
No, Biden had, but the reason is, Bill, there's good data on this. We were systematically suppressed.
Vivek has a moderate
the Hunter
take,
Biden
and it's just not
bribery
enough.
story, which
It's
is
not
relevant
enough for
today.
Bill.
That's
You
what
can't
On the
please
eve of an
these
election where
people.
most people who were independent said, many people who were independent, enough to change the outcome of the election, said they would have changed their vote had they had access to that information. It's the greatest form of election interference in human history.
No.
That's actually the fact.
That would be Russia. If you're listening, please find Hillary's emails and then release them on WikiLeaks. That was the biggest breach.
Oh, my gosh.
You can't really believe it.
You're talking about
That
James.
was a joke. Okay, that was a joke. It was an obvious joke, because if you watch back in 2015, 2016, whenever he said it, he's saying, they're accusing me of working with the Russians. So Russia, if you're listening, please find Hillary's emails. It's sarcastic. It's a joke. But if Bill Maher claims to be a comedian, but clearly
in his statements before the 2016 election.
I'm talking about Trump. Trump said that. I don't need James Comey. Trump said, Russia, if you're listening. You don't remember that moment? You don't remember that?
I don't particularly remember that moment.
do. It
But
was
I'm
a
talking
joke.
about large technology companies in this last election.
Okay.
I just think if we don't learn from that, Bill, we're destined to make the same mistakes again. But here's what I'll say.
I don't
That's an
believe
example
you
of
that-
what you'll call lack of wisdom.
Okay,
and we can agree to disagree on that.
You're running as like, I'm not the bullshitter guy like the other guys. And then you just told me you don't remember when Trump said, Russia,
I actually
if you...
don't, but
it was a
go
giant moment
recount it
that's
for
been
me.
replayed a zillion times.
Back when I was in business and
you're,
It was a
really, you were
joke.
that tuned out from politics?
whether what Trump was saying on a given day in 2016.
Yeah, Bill, it's true. Normal people who don't have Trump derangement syndrome like you are not going to be so fixated on one random joke he made at a rally in 2016, okay? It's true.
Even
yeah,
that was replayed a zillion times because he was impeached.
Oh my gosh!
Over this,
I think the
he wasn't impeached over it. That's not true. He was impeached over the phone call, quote unquote, with Ukraine. Not what he said at a rally in 2016, 2017. Whatever. I remember the line. I don't remember what year it was.
Talk about. I mean, the impeachment was
He's just
on
screaming.
a flawed
He's just
basis.
screaming. Literally,
I mean, that's a hard reason. We now understand. But here's the problem
What
right
about
now.
the
We are still spending, and this is why I'm in this race. We have spent literally 7 years now relitigating and rehashing that series of events that whatever they are is not going to change.
Well, yes,
and
because
I think that's what's wrong with this election right now as well.
Well, that's the nature of justice. When people commit crimes, if they're not punished for it, then they tend to commit the crimes again. So the fact that we're still talking about it, yes, he's got four.
Because you're still talking about it.
Deeply politicized. I think they're a bad idea for the future.
Who brought it up, Bill? You brought. Sorry, I keep pausing, but it's like you brought it up because I don't want to lose the thought that we have in the moment. Okay, you're the one who brought this up. Vivek came to the interview. He's running as his own guy. He wants to talk about his own ideas. Is the Trump stuff relevant? Sure it is, because I think Trump is the front runner. Trump's the guy I support. I want to know what Vivek thinks of the indictments and all that stuff. But you are the one who brought up all these conversations about what Trump said in 2016. Okay, it's you that have the derangement syndrome. You know, I think even Donald Trump wants to move on from the stuff that you're mad about from 2016. Even I, as a Trump supporter, I don't want to move on from Trump, but I do want to move on from these stupid conversations about Russia and all this nonsense from 2016, Bill. Okay, old man. Okay. You're not living in the past.
Well, let's just talk about the one that matters. One where he tried to overthrow the United States government. You don't think that...
You're talking about the third one from Jack Smith.
I'm talking about...
the Jack Smith indictment.
Absolutely.
I can't with this guy, dude.
I believe that I would have made very different judgments than Trump made that day. But Trump expressing his view on the outcome of the election, even knowingly telling a lie, is not unconstitutional.
Great.
It's not a legal violation.
So
Alvarez, a case which 2012,
but he didn't just,
famously said politicians can have a First Amendment right to lie. And Jack Smith's indictment acknowledges that, which is the interesting part about this.
Okay, but this is not what we're talking about. We're talking about things like putting up fake electors. That's not just words. They did that. A slate of fake electors. We're talking about a guy on tape saying, this is the one that came down the other day about Georgia, a guy on tape
derangement syndrome.
I need you to find me 11,780 more votes. Now, that alone, if I just had that, wouldn't that be a case? I need you to find me, he's saying
and they didn't do it, right?
But that, I tried to rob a bank the other day and I didn't get the money.
What law?
See, this is where Bill Maher, he always calls out, to his credit, you know, he's a comedian. I'm anti-PC, I'm anti-woke. He'll call out CNN, he'll call out MSNBC, he'll call out corporate media. This is where he becomes CNN. This is where he becomes MSNBC. It's funny. It's like he has a switch in his head that once you talk about Trump, robot, okay, NPC, I'm NPC, true, literally.
Oh, I mean, here's where I'm at. Not every bad judgment or every bad act is a crime.
Oh my God.
What law did that violate?
He's the president.
What law did that violate?
Probably the oath of office that he took when he would defend the United States.
That's not
what is more essential?
I mean, George Bush violated the oath of office.
What is more
when he sent troops to Iraq? This is why we vote people out. That's how elections work.
I know, but
so I think that's the fundamental difference in how we do things in the United States, where you're taking deeply held judgments that you disagree with. Great, go to the ballot box, vote. That's how we do things in the United States of America.
Which is exactly what he's on trial for. One of the counts is
I think it's
cheating people out of their vote.
The question is, what's best for the country at this point in time?
Well,
and I do not think that in the middle of an election.
Well, the first thing we can decide. I agree with you that
look at the timing of this indictment.
I agree with you that it may prove that we may look back on this and say, because the indictments only make Trump stronger. He's like a rapper. You know, the more times he gets arrested, the more street cred he has. And
that's racist, Bill.
I think, the idea that Republicans don't like him because they love that the porn stars, they love that he was fucking porn stars. They love to be fucking porn stars, Republicans, gay porn stars, but still.
I think, Bill,
what am I saying, dude? The guy just total Trump derangement syndrome. He just
really understand what's going on in the country. We have
just an angry old man.
First of all, right
about
now,
Trump.
on one hand, the son of a U.S. president collecting multi-million-dollar bribes from foreign countries that president is now arguably making good on in different ways.
Oh gosh.
All right, I think we get the point, guys. I mean, you can go listen to the whole thing if you want. I'm not gonna sit here and subject you to 1 hour and 5 minutes of Bill Maher just being angry about Trump, so you can go watch it for yourself. But yeah, that basically sums up the interview. Like I said, there's a few different moments where they have good conversations, and I encourage you to go listen to them. But it just derails because they'll be having a conversation about an actual issue, and Bill Maher just makes it about Trump every single time, while, of course, accusing Vivek of being the one who can't let go of Trump, or who, you know what I mean? So, typical Bill Maher. What can we say? He's sensible on some things, and then he just turns into your generic liberal, when push comes to shove. Shouldn't be surprising to anyone. Welcome to Hollywood. Welcome to even the controlled opposition of Hollywood, right? It is true. But anyways, folks, let me know what you thought of that exchange down in the comment section below. Do you think Bill Maher has a medical case of Trump derangement syndrome? I think he does. And be sure to leave a like on the channel, like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Consider sending in a super thanks if you want to help support our trip to the GOP debate on Wednesday. And until next time, folks, Alpha moves only. God bless. Have a very good day and peace.